seen Pheww play almost everything right now, so it's gonna be interesting to see how that experience comes into play. And here we are in the Celestial Palace. It's Flap versus Pheww. It's the Benedetta challenge between brothers.
That's right. Bren is definitely having a lot of fun here today with both of these guys. Again, we are on the revised rules, meaning you can clear those jungle minions. And again, the clear time from Phantom just amazing, right? That's
Mhm.
just beautiful. Really
Yeah.
quick.
And you can see this is why there's a chance this could be a long fight. We know just how patient these two players are with the play style of Bren Esports. And this could be one of our longer one versus ones here. And it's great to see that these two decided, you know what, I feel like that's a good idea, even though this wasn't part of the plan. Oh, wow.
I think that's going to be it. A lot of Phantom Slashes going in back and forth from these two players. If you in the middle, FlapTzy under tower, but that doesn't matter. First blood going over the Flap. That's 1/2. Remember, you need 2 kills to win this matchup. It'll be fun to watch here for sure.
And as you can see there, Flap and Pheww both have high and dry, a potential emblem there that we might just see Benedetta users use all throughout. And you saw just how you can even use the first skill, Phantom Slash, as sort of as an escape mechanic because it jumps back and then jumps forward. So if you find yourself in an angle where you're dealing damage under turret, you can just sort of like what Flap there, make sure that the first jump back is towards the turret and then the jump forward is away from it so you can get away. So it's little things like that. Now we're seeing in action here to get a chance to look at just how Benedetta might get played in an actual setting.
Yeah, that's true. Again, another small mechanic you have to note about Benedetta, she can also kind of block tower damage. So there's a lot of tower dive potential here, right? For eye for an eye.
Yeah, and hopefully we get to see that in action because when I saw it yesterday, it was just yesterday where I realized her second skill actually blocks turret damage, and that's
That's
absolutely
amazing.
wild.
Here we go. The Electo going in hard. And again, FlapTzy is coming out ahead for some reason. Both of them casted Electo Final Blow.
Hmm.
It's interesting because they don't have any crowd controls, any hard crowd controls. They don't have a teammate like a Kufra. They don't have
Hmm.
anything like a Gatokacha that can hold down heroes. So the slow is something that Benedetta can kind of also avoid herself, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and you see if an eye for an eyes are used, you can see the absorb damage there. Electo final blow once again the slashes. I'm sort of like having a hard time tracking these two Benedettas with all the slashing happening, but it seems like that's gonna be a stalemate with both Pheww and Flap deciding to go back home. And I believe I saw a dreadnought armor onto Pheww there, which helps negate a little bit of the small lead that Flap was able to build with him building more damage focused items. So it's sort of with Flap going damage and Pheww going more defensive, sort of balances it out there for this matchup.
Really hard to keep track of the slashing and dashing here
Yeah.
for sure. Imagine this. Imagine later on we're gonna have a 5v5 mirror matchup. What does that look like? What's that gonna look like? I don't know. Well, for now though, it's brand new sports. Having fun again with Benedetta. First kill has already been achieved by FlapTzy. He only needs one more so that he can get ahead. Should be interesting. And these are Phantom Slash is just being used to clear minion waves really efficiently. And it's one good way to do it very safe as well.
Yeah. And you can see just how they're trying so much to time that an eye for an eye skill number 2 as Pheww gets given a lot of damage under tower there because yes, Benedetta doesn't have that hard crowd control stun available for her because she needs to block crowd control attempts with the second skill so that the second skill damage becomes a stun.
That's right. You need to be able to catch a crowd control so it'll deal out crowd control, right? So gotta make sure that you can also time your opponent's skills perfectly. So there's some level of mind games that's gonna happen whenever there's a Benedetta on the field, whether or not you're gonna be the one to use your ultimate first or the enemy. It's so crucial to get those timings in perfectly.
And let's see if Flap can get a timing in perfectly here as Phew's under tower, still clearing the waves. Damage there, but that Flap gets damaged by the tower. He's going to be forced back. He already locks in that Blade of Despair. So FlapTzy has the damage advantage here compared to Pheww. And that one item could be the difference between these two and could give Flap the winning score.
BOD, talk about the clears and the damage output to low HP heroes. And both of these elect the final blows, barely missing each other, but of course will be used to clear the minion waves quite effectively. And Pheww, he's looking like he's ready to go for the fight. He's kind of threatening FlapTzy there under tower, forcing Flap to back off. And that delay on the back is actually pretty big.
Yeah. That allows Pheww to clear this wave and potentially bring down this turret to somewhere around half or just about half. No, not even. Because Benedetta can get back into the fight real quickly. Again, she has an inherent dash with her basic attacks. And looking at the map, it seems like that's what Flap used to get back into the mid-river much quicker. Yeah, that was super quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Lancelot where you need to hit minions for your dash to reset. And Benedetta can reset all she wants, and there's nothing anyone can do about that. Amazing.
2 BODs now for both of them. I think they both picked up a max there as Pheww takes a lot of damage, able to deal a bit just to Flap. But if Pheww took that fight, could have been a second point there for Flap as Pheww now playing on the defensive here and with no more tower shieldings up. One death here on either side. Of course, Flap, if he gets to take out Pheww one more time, he wins. If Pheww gets to take out Flap, Pheww might actually just win via tower break.
And FlapTzy is definitely showing that he can one-up his big brother here in Bren. And he can one-up this guy in a 1v1, obviously, because his laning, obviously, is focused a lot on the 1v1s, right? Even though there are a lot of ganks that can happen from time to time in the top lane or in the bottom lane, older XP, it's mostly still a 1v1, right? So he's been playing 1v1s for like 12 hours a day, probably, with the amount of practice that Bren Esports picks in. And he's showing mastery right now.
Oh, like the final blow committed there by Pheww. Now committed by FlapTzy. That's a lot of damage to Pheww. And Pheww goes down. That is a win for FlapTzy.